Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads. And today I'm going to be wrapping up May. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be wrapping up May. I'm a little bit behind. I've been meaning to try to make this video for a while now. I am going to be hoping and praying that this software works and that I can get it done. But yeah, so May had 3 different readathons that I was participating in, with one of them being my main one, which was middle grade May, since I was a co-host, and then the other ones, it was just if the book fell where it laid, then, it got counted or whatever. Mystery and Mayhem, you could read anything and count it pretty much as long as it fit one of the prompts, which, since one of the prompts was like an author you've read before or a new to you author, it was always easy to at least get a couple of points no matter what and everything. And I was on Team Mastermind, and it seems like we were only able to kill our own people, which was kind of funny. And then I also participated in Zombie-thon. And so I'm going to go through and I am going to show you what my original TBR looked like and the books that I had on there. You will be able to see some books that have been faded away a little bit, because that's the ones that were on my TBR but I didn't get to. And then I have a little section of books that were not on my TBR that I read, so that we can see how well I stuck to my TBR and how far off I fell or whatever. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is just kind of an overview of like I said, I had 3 readathons that I participated in. So at the bottom, I decided to put the total books that I read, which was 26. Originally, I thought I had 25, but I think I didn't put one on my list here, one of my middle grade books, and so I missed it in counting, and I had an adult book on my list here that I didn't have on here. So after a little rearranging, I think I have it right, and I think I had 26, which means that out of those 26, I only read 4 adults. So it was definitely middle grade heavy, and I do think I was feeling it towards the end of the month and everything. Not that I wouldn't pick up a middle grade book right now, but it is kind of been fun to read something besides middle grade. And I consider myself a tear. I don't think I was necessarily a turtle, but or a tortoise. I don't necessarily think I was the hare in the way of I didn't read 31 books in 31 days. But I did have a plan set out, and I did, I think, fairly well with that plan, but at the same time, I did not read all the books that I had originally on my list, so I'm considering myself a cross between a tortoise and a hare. So I'm just kind of going to go like a little quick overview of my TBR so that you can see the books that I didn't get. So the ones that you can barely see, like, I think you can still see them, at least I hope, but they're more transparent. That meant that I didn't get to those, and I have X's on the ones that I did get to, so that I knew as I was going and everything. And I will take the X's off here in a minute so that you can actually see the actual book instead of just the big gigantic X on there. But it was kind of a reference point for me, and then also it was easy to pinpoint which ones I needed to lessen the transparency on. And here is the second page. My third page. I had high ambitions. And a page that was not on the original TBR. So I have 9 books that were not on my kind of original TBR. Some of these books I did have going, but I didn't mention them as part of the TBR and things like that. So I still didn't consider them part of my actual May TBR, because if I didn't mention it in my TBR video, then it wasn't technically part of the TBR. It was just something that was reading in the background. So now I'm going to remove all the X's, and we'll just kind of go through quickly the books that were on my TBR that I read. Okay, so I think with my May TBR, my biggest accomplishment and favorite things that happened was the fact that I did finish quite a few series. And at least for me. I had chances to finish a couple of others, but the last book in the 2 series that I wanted to finish, they didn't have audiobooks for. All the other ones they had audiobooks for, and then the last one it's kind of held me up. So I'm thinking of maybe putting those on my October TBR and everything, so that there'll be like a couple of my reading with my eyeballs books for October for Halloween, because they would fit in with that. But I did finish the ones that I set out for, which was these 4 top ones here. And then I did, I went ahead and finished, I had them all on my TBR, and so I went ahead and finished them, and they're on my second page that you will see. But here we have the Myrtle Hardcastle series, and so I only needed to read Myrtle Means an Opportunity to finish that, and I did. And I'm glad I finished it, but I'm also a little bit sad that it is ended. And it's kind of the same with the Aggie Morton Mystery Queen series. I finished it by reading The Seaside Corpse, and I was kind of a little bummed that it's a finished series as well. And then Fright Watch, I read Unmasked, which was the 3rd book in the series. And I felt like this series got cut off before it needed to be, because I kind of felt like the ending of this one, that it could have went on with more books in the series if the author wanted to. So I don't know whether she just got cut off by the publishers or she just didn't want to write anymore. But it was still good. And then I finished the Zombie Season trilogy by reading The Rise of the Ancients by Justin Weinberger. And I've been forgetting to like mention the author, so sorry about that. But I'm not going back. But yeah, so my only problem I think with this last book is I kind of felt like the ending went rather quickly for like the wrap up of a trilogy or whatever. But other than that, I thought it was kind of a fun take on zombies and things like that. So yeah, it was definitely one of my reads for Zombie-thon. And then I read now these aren't in any order. I'm just going through the books in the order that they are on my little charts. So I have Out for Blood, which is the 3rd book in the Middle School Bite series. I wanted to finish the series by reading this last one, but I didn't get to it. I started reading it, but I just knew I wasn't going to get to it, and so I just kind of put it to the side. But this one also fits with Zombie-a-thon because the main character is part vampire, werewolf, and zombie. So it fits. And it's a kind of a fun but silly series. And then the next one I have here is Evil Twins. It's a Case File 13 book. I have one more book in that series. I didn't get to it, and then I'll have it finished. So I am hoping to finish that one later in the year. But Evil Twins was kind of a fun, weird doppelganger type of a book, and it was fun. This series makes me think of the Crypt Keeper and things like that, with Tales from the Crypt, where you have like this narrator who is telling you some things at the beginning, and then it goes into the story, and then at the end comes back and tells some things at the end. Okay, so here's the other series that I finished. I finished My Big Fat Zombie Goldfish because I read all 3 of these books here. So we had Anything is Possible, Live and Let Swim, and Jurassic Carp. This is a very silly, probably a little bit on the lower end of middle grade, if not into like a little bit of a children's children's book or whatever. It's very quick, very easy. On audio, they're only like a couple of hours and everything, but I think they're a lot of fun. And Frank, the zombie goldfish, is a great character. I really like him. And I love that whenever somebody gets hypnotized by him, they say, "Squishy little fishy." But yeah, it was fun. And I am finished with that. It was a 6-book series, and I had those 3 books left, and I just went for it. And then next book I have here is Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol. And the book that I read was, I believe it's the 4th book in the series. And there's quite a few books in this series, so it'll be a while before I finish the series. But I read Night of the Zombie Zookeeper. So all of these right here were definitely for Zombieathon. And then I read the first book in the Treasure Hunter series by James Patterson and Chris Grabenstein, which is just called Treasure Hunter. And it was actually one of my books on my 25 and 25. So yay, I finished one of them. So I'm happy about that. Oh, it was also on that at the beginning of the year I did the what was it? The beefcake challenge. And this was one of my beefcake picks because it's over 400 pages. Because I said for me, I count anything over 400 pages a beefcake because I don't like reading big books. Then I only made it to one Theodore Boone book. I really was hoping to get to more of them, but it just didn't fit in to my time. And so I read The Fugitive by John Grisham, which is the 5th book, I believe, in the series, because I think there's 7. And so I had them on here, but I didn't get to them. Then I didn't get to any of the Basil books. I'm a little sad. I wanted to get to a mouse book, but who would have thought it would have had a hold and it never came in? I'm still waiting on it. I probably should have put it on hold earlier in the month. I might have had a chance, but whenever I thought about it, I thought, well, I'll just go get it and read it. I had to put a hold on it. I just didn't think that the 3rd book in that series would have been popular enough to, like, somebody was reading it. I really thought one of my libraries would have had it available, but they didn't. So those were the 2 books that I was going to read for those if I had a chance, and it didn't happen. So then I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish when it comes to the Last Kids on Earth series. I had 3 books on here, and I read them all. I listened to them on audio. Pretty much all of my um, kids' books were audio. I mean, pretty much all of my books that I think there was only one book that I read that wasn't an actual audio. Or wait, no, 2, because Desmond Cole wasn't an audio. It was, you have to read that one. They don't have audios. And then an adult book that I read, but I think pretty much everything else was audiobook. And anyway, so I have The Last Kids on Earth and the Midnight Blade, June's Wild June's Wild Fight, and then Skeleton Road. So we have number 5, 5.5, and number 6. And I think after number 6 there is a 6.5 and everything. And these are definitely for Zombieathon. There are zombies usually in each one of them and everything. And it's a really fun series. It's by Max Brailer. I didn't get to any Erie Elementary. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't make time for an eyeball reading one for this and everything. I should have tried this one instead of trying to read the last book in the Middle School Bites. I may have been able to get it done, but it doesn't matter what kind of book it is, middle grade or adult. If I'm reading it with my eyes, I get distracted really easy, and it takes me a while to read. So I just didn't get it in. I had two of them on here, but I didn't get any of them done. I had a couple of more zombie middle grade books here, but I didn't get to them. So there's always next year. I did read one graphic novel. So we have Plants vs. Zombies, Lamageddon by Paul Tobin. And yeah, that one was super, super silly. I may try another graphic novel in that series just to see what I think, but I really think that in the grand scheme of things, that one might be a little too silly for me. I had my buddy read with the gals, and so we did Improbable Cause by J.A. Jance, and that one was number 5 in the Beaumont series. It was a lot of fun. And so those are the ones that I accomplished off of my actual TBR that I had originally set. And I didn't get to Curse at Dawn by Heather Graham, but it's rolling over into June, and my friend Barb and I are going to be reading that one in June. And then here are the ones that distracted me from my original TBR. We have Wicked Never Waits, which is the second book in the School for Wicked Witches by Will Taylor, I believe. And it's just fun if you like The Wizard of Oz. It's a fun little middle grade take on that and things. It mentions like the Yellow Brick Road and all that kind of stuff. And you can kind of figure out which character might represent a certain character from Wizard of Oz. And then I have The Many Hauntings of the Manning Family. This one was because when I was looking up Unmasked by Lauren Lawrence, I seen that she had another book out that I didn't know about. And I was like, I must read this book. And so I did. And so that's why that one was on here. Definitely a little spooky, so beware of that part. And then It's Watching by Lindsay Curry. I couldn't help it. It came in on Libby. I've been wanting to read this one for a little bit and everything, so I jumped on that one and read it. And it is definitely spooky for middle grade, so keep that in mind. Lindsay Curry, most of her books are a little bit on the spooky side, but they always deal with a a place somewhere where there's a lot of stuff about um ghost. Like this one had the Bachelor Grove Cemetery and everything. So you always learn something about a place and a little bit of the history of that place and things like that. So I always think that's kind of fun. Then I have Unplugged by Gordon Corman. This one happened because I was straightening up my middle grade shelf looking for some books, and I was like, oh, this looks cute. Let's read that. So I did. I actually have the book somewhere. I think I may have put it back over there because I don't see it anywhere around me and everything. But yeah, so I got that one done, and it was fun. It's a contemporary, my only contemporary book on this TBR, because we all know I don't read a lot of middle grade contemporary, but now and then one is cute, and I do like it. The next one is The Witch in the Woods by Jennifer Killick, and this is the first book in the Serial Chillers series. And I had it on hold, and the hold came in, and I really wanted to read it, so that is why it was on here. I made time for it. I really like Jennifer Killick. I like her Dreadwood series. This one is a little bit on the more slightly spooky side for middle grade horror, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a series that I think you'll want to read in order, so you'll need to start with this one. It is the only one out right now, but just in future, because there is a little bit, like, I think of an overreaching arc that's going to happen within this series on what's happening in the town. And I can't say because that would spoil the whole book, so you must read it yourself. And then I have Coop Knows the Scoop by Taryn Sound? I can't remember exactly, and I can't see the little writing on there. But this one was just kind of, I was looking at books that I had on Libby that were middle grade, and I wanted a mystery, and that one popped up, and so I was like, that one sounds cute. We'll do that one, and I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. So I'm glad I decided to pick that one up. And so these 3 books here, these last 3 that are adult books, they were kind of books that were behind the scenes that I had been working on a little bit at a time. Anyway, I'd put them on, I put the Louis L'Amour one on multiple TBRs, and I had never quite gotten to it or through the whole thing. I'd listened to a little bit and never quite got through the whole thing. So I decided to just go for it because I knew I wanted to read the 3rd one for June, and so I needed to get through that one. But yeah, so we have The Sins of the Fathers was by Lawrence Block, was a My Novel Life Challenge book. It's the first book in the Matthew Scudder series. It is from 1976, and I am so behind on that series of My Novel Life Challenge because I've only read 2 so far, 1975 and 1976. So I really need to get on it and everything. And so, but it wasn't exactly what I expected going into it, but at the same time, I did enjoy it enough to want to continue on with the series. And then we have To the Far Blue Mountains by Louis L'Amour, which is the second Sackett book, which is not Western, it's adventure, which is why I wanted to get it done, because I was hoping number 3 was going to be a Western, which it sort of is, but it's still a little bit more on the adventure side with pirates and things than what I consider a Western, I guess. But it is what it is. Eventually, I will get into the Western parts of the Sackett. Eventually. And then I have Death at the Highland Loch by Lydia Travers. I had been reading that the previous month. I rolled it over because I had a set time when I needed to get it finished for a Bookouture tour. And so I did that. And it was okay. I'm not a huge fan of Poppy, but at the same time, I think I could grow to like Poppy and everything. I didn't have some qualms with it that people who are Scottish, had, because like Fiona, she knew that it wasn't set in the Highlands, no clue. There was a word she didn't like, had no clue. And so it was definitely a little bit more appealing to somebody who doesn't know like the area or whatever. But I think if you know a lot about Scotland and the Scottish culture and things like that, then there could be some things in there that you don't like. But I just thought it was okay. And that's my TBR for May. That's everything I got through. So I think I did pretty good with overall TBR. I think. Okay, so I counted up the books that I had on my TBR for May, and I think there was 28 if I counted right. And out of the 28, I got to 17. It's not too bad. Out of that 17, I finished like 5 series, so I think that's pretty good. The ones that weren't on my TBR, there were 9. So I still read quite a few off of my TBR, even though I did stray and read 9 that weren't on my TBR. But I think overall, it was a win. I'm calling it a win. And everything. So, let me know how you did in May. Did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish? Did you read the books you wanted? Did you go off your TBR like I do? Let me know all the deets down in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.